Now, you're tuned in to All Factors Considered. Here are your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of All Factors Considered. It's episode number 62. We're recording live on June 27th in the midst of a heat wave out here in the Pacific Northwest. 113 damn degrees out here in Portland, man. When you know you got crazy weather stuff going on out here, you know we have some crazy stuff going on in the MMA and sports world for sure. So let me bring in my co-host, AJ. AJ, sitting sunny and nice in an 80-degree weather out there in California. It must be nice, my man. Must be nice. But hey, we had a lot of craziness going on. We had heavyweight implications for real, you know what I'm saying? We had people going to sleep, neck snatch, liver snatch, the entire gambit, man. We got a lot to break down, suffice it to say, you know what I'm saying? But let's do a little bit of record recap. AJ, man, we tied on this one. We are going to say, so we're going out of 5 bouts instead of the 6 main card bouts because one of the bouts got ruled a no contest. 3-2 a pop for both of us, man. 71-50 for me, 58-63 for you. It's kind of incredible at this point. We've gone through high streaks, slump streaks, little so-and-so in between, man, but we keep this thing on churning and we moving up the rankings every single time. So it's definitely good to see. A couple fights played out the way we wanted to, some didn't, but hey, man, tell the folks how are you living before we get into stuff, man.
Man, I'm living well out here, brother. I just got some, nice weather, nice life out here. It's good. You know, everything's going well. Those fights were amazing, brother. I a little shocked, a little upset at some, but, you know, we'll get further into that whenever we get to it, brother.
Absolutely. So you know what we have to do best over here, folks, is we got to do a little bit of photo collections recap, and we're going to start off with right here, AJ. This is Thrill and Agony. We have something that we need to talk about really quickly before I start describing this photo, man. This is something that we saw. It made the headlines. Justin James, man, the Guitar Hero, a crowd favorite to some. You know what I mean? This dude came out. He made his name during the pandemic at Fight Island and stuff like that with a big TK over Frank Camacho. And he's been on a recent slump. I think he's dropped 2 in a row and said, you know what? Me and my coaches were betting our entire fight purse on me winning, and he lost. So it was like, yo, you love the confidence, but this photo right here kind of sums it up. The fight at least went down to a split decision. It was a close fight. I do think the right person won in this contest. However, listen, man, what it comes down to is that a wise move? Before we even break down the photo, is that a wise move to have that much confidence in yourself when you're fighting a dude who is very, very experienced, very skilled, and you probably don't have the means and the funds to be betting that money, you know, because if you lose, it's all bad. If you win, it's all great. You got to risk it to get the biscuit, but it didn't pan out this time. So what do you think, AJ?
I agree, Derek. You got to risk it to get the biscuit, and I love the confidence. 100% love the confidence. But my dad taught me one thing when he said, when I was telling him I'm about to go gambling a little bit, he said, don't bet your rent money. Never bet your rent money. Yep. You got money to spend, all right, whatever, do your thing. But man, risking your whole purse, if you got the funds, all right, cool, whatever. But that's a hell of a risk. And unfortunately, not only did he lose, but his whole camp lost because you know they didn't get the money off of that either. So it's a risk. I love the risk, but man, it even hurts even worse that it's a split decision loss because you had a little glimpse of I might have won, and then I agree though. I agree. Justin James definitely Charles Hossa definitely got the right nod.
Yeah, absolutely. What it came down to is that James finally had that moment of like light at the end of the tunnel. He had Rosa hurt at the end of the third and then decided to try to submit a Brazilian black belt. And it's just, everyone was just like, no, even Daniel Cormier was like, no, don't do the takedown. Don't do the takedown. And they say, when you got a wrestler telling you not to take somebody down, you know you fucked up. You know you're not doing the right thing. Listen, I don't want to, now that all the jokes aside, I don't want to, kick a man while he's down. But this is a prime example. You know what I'm saying? Don't gamble. Don't risk money that you cannot afford to lose. Who's to say? Let's say this man's probably sitting pretty, got some good investments and stuff going on. Who's to say? We don't know anything. But the photo, folks, for those who are just listening, is Charles Rosa jumping up with the American flag, celebrating his victory, while Justin James, it was that split moment of when they said, "Ch." For Charles, and I think he thought they were going to say like Justin, right? And he did like, and then it was like, oh, god damn. And that broke my heart, bro. That broke my heart because you saw it. Like this dude was hoping so bad, praying to the almighty, like, hey, please, let me get the win. Didn't pan out. That's the fight game, aka the hurt game. But let's move on to the next photo, AJ. I have to ask you this question. This is a photo that took place during the Andre Fili versus Daniel Pineda contest. And I want to ask you, the dude right here who you see got the gloves on, got the glasses on, looks like a doctor to me, but it seemed like he was a referee in there. You know what I'm saying? He was dictating the shots. Is this a doctor or a ref? What do you think about this, AJ?
I think it was a couple, 4 or 5 episodes back where I was saying, that the doctors, it's good that he came in there and, stopped the fight and all that stuff. And this eye poke situation, there's 2 fights where there was 2 pretty severe eye pokes in this one. And I kind of agree with this one because Daniel Pineda literally could not open up his eye and he was just guessing. He was literally just guessing. How many fingers I got? 3. He's like, it's just holding up 1. It's just like, it was bad to see. So this one, I think this one played it off a little bit better, to be honest with you. I'm glad this one, protected some people's eyes, but he was definitely a little more, held a little more weight in the octagon than a lot of other people would have liked to see, So it's a weird concept, but what do you think?
Well, I agree with you, man. I do think that at the end of the day, when you're just guessing, and I think he had the interview with Daniel Cormier, and he was like, I could see, it's no problem. Daniel Cormier's like, well, you're literally have your eyes closed talking to me right now, so I don't think you can see, dog, So I think that Daniel Pineda was too tough for his own good, so it's good that the doctor, right, that he stepped in and called it quits. However, the judging is the thing that we need to talk about, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, man, but it got ruled a no contest because the fight wasn't long enough. I think it didn't reach the halfway point, but the thing is, Andre Fili was dominating the fight. So instead of it being ruled a technical decision, and let's just score whoever was winning the fight, neither of these dudes get their second check. It's just a terrible situation for everybody. And it goes to show why the, 2-check system might not be the best system in MMA. But interesting, man. Interesting stuff right there. Now, this is the photo that was after this. Now, that's Andre Fili staring at a box of pizza. That's probably, see, you go from expecting 3 checks, right? You get your show money, your win money, and a bonus on top to, well, I got my show money, and this is all I can afford is some fucking pizza. You know what I'm saying? After the fight, man, you balling on a budget at that point. Nah, this is him just enjoying, being able to have some pizza after the fight. But I do think it was a little bit of a funny predicament. What do you think about this, AJ?
Yeah, I think it's a funny predicament. I got into this debate over when I went back home and visited some family. We were talking about how UFC fighters need to get paid more, but yet they signed a contract for what it was, even though they signed a contract when they're nobody. So it's a gray area. We obviously want to see them get paid more. You're going in there, you're risking your life, your health, your family, your wealth, all that jazz. But it is funny to see him just staring at that pizza like that's all I can wait to get to. I'm done with this interview. I just want to snatch this up, man. It's been there. If you've been there, you know that feeling, man, where all you want to do is eat. So yeah, it's a funny one.
Absolutely, man. Now this next photo, AJ, I'm gonna have to say that you hit this one on the head, my man. You called this as your sleeper, Jeremiah Wells versus Warlley Alves, man, and the man packs a pop in his punch. You know what I'm saying? This picture right here is literally Warlley Alves sleep before he hits the ground by a huge just hook shot from Jeremiah Wells. This dude is just an absolute ball of muscle, and it was interesting because I didn't know that he trains with Paul Felder, and Paul Felder was saying that the craziness we saw in this matchup was a tame, calm version of Jeremiah Wells, not the thing that you're used to. So just give me your take on this photo. I got another one to complement this one after, but give me your take on this photo.
Yeah, man. No, Paul Felder's right. When I was watching all of his Jeremiah's other fights, he was coming out like a little blitz ball, bro. Crazy. And this one, he's a little more composed, but dude packs a crack, man. It was insane. Yeah, no, this photo, you could just see him literally lights off way before he hit the ground. I don't know exactly when this shot was taken in the punch, but it looked like it just connected. It looks like he's barely hitting him. Full kneel, too. It's crazy. Crazy shot.
Yeah, man. And now Jeremiah Wells, he joins Randy Brown and James Krause as the only men to finish Warlley Alves, man. Very, very durable. So super, super impressive, man. But this next photo, I just have to say, have you ever seen someone more jubilant to see their first UFC debut win? You know what I'm saying? That is the look of a fucking madman. That's the look of someone who I would not want to fight. You know what I'm saying? I bet you a lot of people in the division don't want to fight that man either after seeing what he just did. What do you think?
They say the haka is one of the most intimidating forms of pre-show, I guess, showboating or whatever that you would count that as. But I see this man coming at me like this, brother, and I don't want to fight either. Imagine him in some war paint, just screaming at you. Ah, yeah, that's quite a picture right there.
Absolutely. It reminds me of when Shane Young did the haka in his, it was like the weigh-ins, right? And he proceeded to lose like 3 fights in a row after that. So sometimes it'll do good for you. Sometimes not the best luck, man. This next picture that I got right here, this is Yancy Medeiros versus Damir Hadzovic. And this is a fight that Hadzovic won. He put a beating on Medeiros, man. This dude has an iron chin. But this is in the last moments of the fight where Medeiros was moments away from potentially getting that rear naked choke. You can see it's not all the way under the chin, but it looks tight. You know what I'm saying? This is one of those things where I just have to say, like, as a fighter, do you look back on this? Obviously neither of us are fighters, but just give me your interpretation, a thought experiment. As a fighter, you're seconds away. You have it right there. It's kind of like Dustin Poirier when he almost had Khabib in that guillotine. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you think that this is a moment they're going to remember for the rest of their life?
Oh yeah, it has to be. I mean, it's one of those weird ones where it's either you remember it for the rest of your whole life because it's a great experience, or you remember it for your whole life because it's a horrible experience, you know? And you're always thinking back to that one spot of like, did it slip under? Did it slip under? Like, could I have just turned a little ways? You know, it's always what's this old saying, 2020 or
hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, there you go. Hindsight is 2020, and you're always playing that revisionist history in your mind, man. Yeah, that's a hard one.
Even Dustin Poirier, when he gets asked about it, he talks about it from time to time. He was like, if there's one thing I wish I could have did different is like maybe get hooks in when I had Khabib in that, you know what I'm saying, guillotine. So it's one of those things that's always going to be there in the back of your mind. Now, but this next photo, man, this is interesting because we have a Marcin Prachnio with a walk-off liver-snatching giga kick. Now, man isn't Georgian, but he's Polish, and it's damn near close enough, man. Those cats don't play with them kicks. Ike Villanueva, man, fan favorite over here, man. Stand-up cat, solid boxer. But listen, man, he switched over, and I think that Prachnio's corner called out like, hey, southpaw. Next thing you know, body kick. And it was one of those where, listen, I can't say I've ever experienced anything like that, where you're rolling around on the ground withering in pain because your body shut down because your liver is just destroyed. You know, just give me your take on this, man.
I've eaten a couple liver shots, my man, and that, and when you get hit in the sternum and lose all your breath and can't breathe, those are some of the weirdest ones because you're awake, your full consciousness is going, man, and you're thinking all these thoughts, but it is just the most excruciating pain. And you could even see Ike it's a hard one, man. All your body wants to do is just cave in on itself, and you feel like you're dying, but you're conscious for it. So I'd almost rather get knocked out, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I've definitely experienced that sternum shot, man, and that is no joke because, you just sitting there like, you feel me? And you can only imagine with the liver what it does to you, man. But this next photo, man, this is one of my sleepers. I'd have to say, AJ, we did really well on our sleepers. I think we had almost all finishes, if not all finishes, on the sleepers. But this is the Raging Panda, man, and she's doing something. The only reason I picked this photo is because she submitted the individual who was supposed to be the one submitting somebody, right? Julia Stoliarenko is the armbar queen, right? And Raging Panda kicked her in the face, took her back, choked her out, got the job done, man. Very impressive showing for Julia Avila, who was crying in her post-show conference because of all the adversity she suffered. She lost her job. She got kicked out of her gym, all that craziness. And she's now saying, like, listen, man, I think she's a dark horse in the bantamweight division. So that's really all I got on the picture. You got anything to say on that one?
No, I agree. I'm excited to see where she comes up, man, because it's the hardest ones when you're fighting for actually something, you know? So yeah. All her past, it's gonna be good for her. We'll see what happens in the future, though.
Absolutely. So that wraps up our UFC photos. Now I just got a couple, other promotions I want to talk about very quickly. This is a photo, man. This is PFL. This is Anthony Pettis, man. Showtime. And this is Listen, this is the result of going 0-2 in the PFL after, kind of saying, like, I don't really want to renew in the UFC. I don't know if he had a choice, but he kind of made it seem like, hey, man, I think I'd rather part ways with the UFC. I think that I'd be able to do really well in this, tournament type system. It's really a season in PFL and win the $1 million prize. And now he didn't even make the playoffs and he's out. So he's going to have to wait until next year or the next PFL season or whatever. But just give me your take on that, man. Is this say more about Anthony Pettis or does this say something about the UFC?
I think it says more a little bit about Pettis, because he has Sergio Pettis is fighting out of where again?
Well, this is Anthony Pettis, but Sergio.
No, I know, but his brother.
Where is he fighting out of? I don't know where he's fighting out of, to be honest with you.
I think he's fighting out of another small division as well, another smaller, organization. He's not fighting. Neither of these guys are in the UFC.
Bellator. Sir, I thought you meant camp. My bad. Yeah, he's fighting in Bellator. He's the Bellator bantamweight champion. Sergio Pettis is.
Yeah. Yeah, so still, bantamweight champion, doing well, but to see the older brother Anthony Pettis come and have such high highs and then now back down to his low lows, man, it's rough to see, especially looking at this photo where he's all lumped up. He's this dude has been through some wars, and to speak on like Anthony Pettis kind of just falling down, his fall from grace. It's hard to see as a fan, especially, growing up when you're watching Showtime kicks happen all the time. It's almost heartbreaking, brother. I'd rather see him retire on top, become a coach or something like that, than see him, end up like Chuck Liddell.
Yeah, man. I think he still got it. I think he absolutely still got it, man. But it's just tough to see something like this. But one thing is for sure, he's a UFC champion, man. You can never take that away from him. He's been at the top of the top. So with that being said, man, I think that get a couple more wins under his belt, be a supporting system for his brother. It's really his brother's time to shine at this point. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, tough to see. Now this next photo is I brought this up because one, this is very similar to the result of the Kanako Murata fight that just happened versus Vina Jandiroba, right? This is Liz Carmouche facing off against Kana Watanabe. And last time that we covered a Bellator event here on this show, right, we actually covered Watanabe's fight against, I forget her name, but she ended up being one of your favorite prospects coming out of that matchup. Listen, man, this is what I have to say about this. The reason why I brought this up is because the ageless Liz Carmouche, who has wins over Valentina Shevchenko, Caitlin Chukagian, Lauren Murphy, lost to Ronda Rousey, lost to, she's an OG UFC cat, right, in Bellator now. She walked through Watanabe, and I just have to say this before you give me a reaction, AJ. These judokas who are so Olympic level, high level gold medalists, right, like a Murata or like a Watanabe, you gotta sharpen up the hands, man. We know you nice with the judo. We know you nice with the wrestling and the throws, but you got to be able to at least mix in some head movement or something, because this, believe it or not, this was the first loss of Watanabe's career. And she just got blitzed through with straight punches. That was it. It was very short. It was very fast. And I was just a little disappointed because, like, I'm so high on these judokas, man. They're so legit. Like a Kayla Harrison, at least she got some of that, those hands, that head movement, some of that, and she's the judoka. But with that being said, give me your take, AJ.
Well, it's crazy to see that in some aspects, like let's take a Khabib or even any other very proficient wrestler who's able to, or any of the Brazilians we talk about, where they're so good on the ground that they don't care to let those hands swing. Same thing with Khabib. He was able to drop Conor either in the second or the third because Conor was so worried about the takedown. Whereas you see in this, it doesn't really play out the same way, where their judoka is so strong that they're able to not worry about anything else. Like it's crazy to see that in the women's and the men's division. In the women's, you really need to be a lot more well-rounded. You can't just have that specific focus and dig deep and kind of bank on that. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy to see, because she did get steamrolled. And you can even see on the pop, her arms isn't even close to extending, and she's already snapping her head back. So yeah, it's a crazy one. It's weird how the styles, or like I said, the specifics don't cross genders. It's weird.
Yeah, it is definitely interesting, man. But hey, the ageless Liz Carmouche is probably going to be fighting for a title here soon after this very, very impressive win. Last photo that I got here, AJ, and this is just Kayla Harrison. She's being compared now. She's saying, or people are saying that Kayla Harrison is like Ronda Rousey 6.0. This is like what Ronda Rousey should have been or could have been. Obviously, Ronda Rousey is a pioneer. She was the first person to really blow up women's MMA, right? But Kayla Harrison, man, she's just steamrolling her opponents. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I don't even know the name of this opponent. She just kind of ran through somebody who is not the same caliber of level that Kayla Harrison is, but she's very much on her way to, she's not the number 1 seed in the PFL right now. She's like the number 2 seed or whatever, but she's very much on her way to getting $1 million goddamn dollars. You know what I'm saying, over there in the PFL. Very impressive. When's the last time we've seen a woman fighter, a female fighter, just steamroll opponents in this caliber? Amanda Nunes is knocking you out on the feet. Valentina Shevchenko is technical. She's going through a lot of decisions. Kayla Harrison puts you on the ground and smashes your face in. And she ended up winning this fight via submission. She hyperextended the girl's arm, damn near broke her arm. But yeah, just what do you think?
I think the only closest one is Valentina Shevchenko whenever she's fighting as the mean bullet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. In the last 2 or 3 where we've seen her, she'll literally just put it to the girls, put them down in the crucifix and beat him up.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that, you don't really see it. You really see in the women's divisions a lot more technical striking. That leads to the point of what I just said, where you need to be a lot more well-rounded. Yeah. But man, Kayla Harrison just absolutely putting it to girls, man. It's good to see. It makes me happy for the future of the women's divisions.
I do think it's great. I do think she's going to need to move down to 145 if she wants any competition, because fighting at 155, who is there? Like, UFC doesn't have any 155ers. Bellator doesn't have 155ers. Slim pickings over there, man. But all right, that's the photos. Best photos of the weekend, man. And we can open up, or actually right before we open up, I'm actually going to take a step back really quickly because I forgot to do this on the last show, AJ. I just wanted to point out a couple of things in terms of the prelims that were very exciting. So the prelims, we had 3 knockouts, 2 submissions, 2 decisions, and only 1 upset on that card, right? But it was probably the most exciting portion of the entire card was the prelims, believe it or not. I want to talk about Kennedy and Chekawu, you know, Chukwe, there we go. You know who the hell I'm talking about. The man with the eraser top that's coming back from adversity, who's coming back in the 3rd round, starching people. Danilo Marquez, man. Homeboy had a body triangle on, Kennedy the entire time. He had our man in trouble. But I want to talk to you right now about this. So Kennedy comes back with a TKO in the round 3 with punches, right? After just Marquez seems like he just gassed himself out, going all out for the submission. How much of this matchup to you was the enhancement of Saif Saud, right? The head coach out of Fortis MMA. How much of do you think that gritty victory come from behind is that in your corner being like, I believe in you, bro. You got to go. You got to do this. Let's rock. Because he's one of the best coaches, in the game right now. What do you think, AJ?
I heard the corner talk, like the hype up talk in between the 2nd and the 3rd round. And he literally said exactly that. I believe in you. I believe you can do this. I believe you can knock him out. Go out there, take a little less pop on your shots and drop this dude. And it was just literally like, I get chills thinking about it because you can see Kennedy and Chukwe like kind of down and like, all right, I just got dominated 2 rounds. And then he said that and he's like, all right, cool. It's another round. We're going to start it again. And sure enough, he went out there and absolutely put it to him. So I give not all the credit to Saif Saud, but a solid 90% because that same exact thing is happening in the locker room, in the coaching facility. Whenever they're doing practice, Saif Saud is being that pillar of strength that all his fighters, I'm sure it's not just Kennedy and Chukwe, but all his fighters look up to and know that they can depend on and see when something like that happens, where you hear him say, I believe in you, you're my fighter, like you can go out there and do this. All his other fighters are thinking like, damn, like, all right, I got this dude behind me. Like, cool. It only gives just another level of pride and another level of confidence that most fighters, that's really what you need when you're out there. Cause you feel vulnerable. You're fighting in your underwear in front of millions of people, getting punched in the face, getting arm body locked the whole way, dominated all the way on the ground. But you still have that one dude who believes in you constantly and literally like, you've been in the ditches in the wars with this guy and he's still there, a positive light, a beacon of hope. And that is absolutely inspiring for anybody that's looking to either get into fighting or to coach. You know what I'm saying? It's really good to see. It's cool. It's really cool too.
I definitely agree. Fortis MMA is quickly becoming one of my favorite gyms out of all of the MMA gyms out there that are killing the game right now. And sometimes that's all it takes. Just needing someone there to be like, I believe in you, bro. That's all it takes. It's not even the X's and O's. Just have somebody in your corner that, like you said, beacon of light. That was very wrapped up very well. And then really quickly before we get to the actual recap, man, Shavkat Rakhmonov. I told y'all you're going to know who the hell this man is after the fight. 14-0, 14 finishes, man. He's steamrolling everybody. He just steamrolled a dude who has fought the who's who in the UFC, a real deal veteran. Now, there was like an 8-inch height advantage for Rakhmonov. It looked like those two didn't even belong in the same cage. But I will say, man, Prazeres was 26-3 in the UFC, and he's been a UFC vet since 2013. So it's very impressive. Shavkat Rakhmonov, this is his 2nd submission win in a row. Like I said, he's finished all of his fights, man. Just tell me really quickly, what do you think the pinnacle for Shavkat is? I think that you got to give him the Chimaev treatment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see where you're coming from. And I was going to say, his pinnacle is top of the heap. Like he's going to be there soon enough, if not within the next 3 fights, maybe the next 5. But this dude, that would be the long path. That would be the smart path if he did it. Would a little longer. But I say go get that gold, brother. Like this is like he's absolutely steamrolling people. And I think it was in that fight where Daniel Cormier was saying, this is why I never fought Stefan Struve. Or like Alexander Volkov, just because I don't want to look like how Prazeres is, man. Because it was not only did he look like he was a different weight class, but he looked like he was a different class of specimen in general. He was out there, real light on his feet, popping shots. It was a great fight to watch.
Absolutely. And actually, so Daniel Cormier, he had like a bout set up with Stefan Struve. It never actually came to fruition, but that disparity is just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? But Rachmanov, it just makes me, listen, I'm not saying that he's ready for this whatsoever, but it would be really interesting to see how he clashes with the Kamaru Usman. You feel me? Like that real top of the heap type stuff. It would just be interesting to see the stylistic clash because he's so large for welterweight, right? But with that being said, that's enough prelim action, man. Let's get into Renato Moicano getting a rear naked choke in round 2 victory over Jai Herbert, man. I can't say that I called it, but I called it. Come on, what are we talking about here? It was almost like clockwork, man. When I saw this, I was just like, damn, there was not an easier pick to make. And I'm not going to say that Herbert didn't have a very valiant effort because he absolutely did. Like I said, if he could keep it on the feet, man, he was going to have Moicano in trouble. But I'm really glad to see both of us. I think we were banking on Moicano going back to his grappling roots, man. That's literally what you're best at. Like, double down on your strengths. And he did, and he got the win. And he calls out, and we'll talk matchmaking in a second, but he calls out a Gregor Gillespie or Islam Makhachev, and it's like, I don't know about that, man, but I like where your head's at. Give me your take on the fight, man. How impressive was this of an effort for Moicano?
Yeah, Derick, you hit the nail on the head, and it was clockwork, bro. The second round, rear naked choke, it was beautiful. The first round, it was a little closer. I gave it to Moicano. He was doing work. He was putting it in on him, and then came out and just did what he had to do. It was a good fight. It was quick, and Jai Herbert, if I'm not mistaken, caught Moicano a couple times. He cracked him a couple times, and Moicano was able to power through it. So it was literally, I was happy to see that Moicano was able to get back to it, but still provide some crowd entertainment. Yes, it's nice to see people win on just a quick submission round 1. But, for the fans, it's always good to see some people throw some hands too. So I think this Moicano got back to his roots, not only in the fact of getting to submissions, but also becoming a crowd favorite. Yeah. Moicano's been a good crowd favorite for a while, and he's down to bang. That was one of my favorite parts about this fight.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what's another interesting thing about Moicano is that since he's been knocked out 3 times in his last 5 fights, or at least that's what it was going into this fight, I was a little worried because I was like, Herbert cracks you one time, man, and you got that spotty chin. It's going to be rough, right? But it's very assuring to see that that chin was durable. It withstood the damage that Herbert was able to put out there. So I was really, really impressed, man. But now my question to you is 2 losses in a row for Jai Herbert. Do you think, I'm not going to say that he doesn't belong in the UFC. I think he absolutely does. He just needs a little bit of a better matchup, needs to work on that takedown defense a little bit more. He had a very valiant effort, like I said, but where do you see the prospects going for Jai Herbert, man? Because I think that he's legit. I honestly believe that.
No, I do believe he's legit. And they're fighting out of what class again? Lightweight?
Yep.
And he's a tall, he's even Moicano, they're both very tall, both very kind of long and lanky. I was thinking Herbert, man, I don't know if he needs to go up or down,
Sure.
But the lightweight division is so stacked that it's hard. It's hard to make a living in there because it's so deep. So I don't know. It's hard for Herbert because I do think he belongs 100%.
Yeah.
But he needs to find his class or maybe new camp or something. He definitely needs a change up. But he looked good. Don't get me wrong. He looked good until he got choked out.
Yeah, absolutely. And but that's the thing about the UFC is like for Moicano, they're going to give another striker to Moicano and probably a good wrestler and striker to Moicano. And for Herbert, they're going to give him a crazy wrestler. Again, that's just how it's the clash of styles. It's just how it goes. So something's got to give, man. But impressive showing for Renato Moicano. Now, AJ, man, I'm not going to lie to you. I got to give you props on this one, man. You saw something that I thought could happen, but this was like one-sided, basically the entire fight. The Dirty Bird, man, he put it on Dalby. Like, my Lord, he had a very anti-karate approach to this fight, dude. And I didn't think he'd be able to do it simply because it's such short notice, you know what I mean? But Tim Means showed off his experience. If he did anything, he showed off, like, I've been around, bro. I've seen all of this before. At this point, like with this performance, I'm not going to say Nicholas Dalby is like a top 15 fighter or anything like that. He's not. But Tim Means looked like he could be on, get right back in them rankings and start really like advancing up the charts. What do you think about Tim Means' performance, man?
Man, I was so high on Tim Means' performance, and we'll get to matchmaking in a bit, but I started looking at the top 15. I was like, where does this dude go? And then I had to chill out a little bit because he is the Dirty Bird after all, and he's been in the game for quite a while. But super impressed, man. Super, super impressed. He literally put it to Dalby. And what impressed me most about this is he was able to get Dalby to go and not fight his style. Dalby's usually a little more patient, a little more in and out, but right off the bat, Dalby just jumps in, literally blitzes like crazy, blows his entire gas tank, and then it's the Dirty Bird show after that, man. And he was able to just weather the storm, put it to him, and fight a great fight, man. And Tim Means absolutely impressed everybody. It reminded me of the old school Dirty Bird, where he's down to fight anybody, anyway, doesn't matter. And he absolutely shut down Nicholas Dalby. It was good to see. I was expecting a little bit more from Dalby. I'm not going to lie to you. I was expecting a little kind of more back and forth. But that just speaks even more so to Tim Means, man. He was just absolutely putting it to him. And like you said, had an anti-karate style, really stuffing all the shots, getting him up against cage, doing the dirty boxing. Man, it was a good fight. It was cool to watch.
Yeah, man. It was you said it perfectly, man. Tim Means made Dalby fight his fight, not the karate fight. He said, "You're gonna fight my fight. We're gonna go up close. I'm gonna be in your face. I'm gonna smother you, and like I said, not gonna let you get those kicks off. Not gonna let you get that stuff off, man." But what was most impressive is that Tim Means said, "Oh, wrestling department, I'll just pick you up and slam you on your back." Like, he just, like I said, he just looked good, man. I was like, this is not the Tim Means that I thought I was about to see. You look like a young, rejuvenated, like we've talked about on this show before too, right, AJ? Tim Means ain't this like stand-up guy, you know. This is, I mean, well, he is now, don't get me wrong, but like he's known for being, he's a gangster, bro. This dude is with the shits, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, listen, don't disrespect the man. Tim Means, the Dirty Bird, man. So huge win for Tim Means, and we'll talk where he's gonna go up in a few, man. But we don't really got much to talk about because this was a no contest, Andre Fili versus Daniel Pineda. But like I said earlier in the show, AJ, Andre Fili was putting it on Pineda. He was working him. Pineda, once again, flat-footed, throwing everything into every shot that he got. Fili was just touching, flowing, you know, hitting him with those. It looked like it was a boxing clinic damn near, you know what I'm saying? Daniel Pineda, I felt really bad because he couldn't go. He was trying to do whatever he could to stay in the fight. And, you know, I could see how many fingers I got. Oh, 2, 3, you know, all that, right? But one thing that made me really sad, man, because, you know, I resonate with these guys sometimes. He was all like, I guess this dude was just fucking putting it on me. I guess he was just beating my ass. Like, he said that multiple times in the post-fight, you know, when he was getting interviewed in the cage, right? And it makes me go on to think, do you, like, I don't have the experience to sit there and say in a legitimate high stakes fight like this at the top of the top professional level. Do you think he just didn't know what was going on? Like, it was just a blink of an eye, or like you just blacked out, and next thing you know, it's like, I guess I was getting my ass whooped. I had no idea. Because
I mean, there's definitely times, if you've ever even like even like a football game or anything like that, if you've taken a good crack to the head and you just kind of wake up later and you're like, what happened? Yeah, I mean, he didn't get cracked like that, or at least it didn't look like he got knocked out like that or anything. But the dude's eyes were swollen shut, so you know he was eating multiple shots to the face. And it's weird because this happens a lot to me with like you know, both acting, comedy, stuff like that, or even just regular life, working out, boxing, kickboxing, all that jazz. You think you're doing something. You think like, okay, you know, I know to do this. I'm gonna, you know, blah blah blah. Although whatever the technique is, you know what you need to do. And then somebody from the outside perspective will tell you, hey, do this. And you're like, I am. You're like, no, you're not. Do this. You're like, I am doing this. It's just that weird thing where your body thinks you're doing it, but our bodies are so complex that they'll add the compensations or whatever you think just to make it a little easier for you. And you're not actually staying true to the technique. And I kind of think that's what it was, more so than, you know, Daniel Pineda getting KO'd, standing up and just waking up again. I think it was more him going in and fighting and being like, yeah, no, this is how I fight, man. I'm winning the fight. Like, I'm doing good. Like, there's nothing different here going on. This is just a normal day. I'm winning. And it was more so he needed to kind of that outside perspective of, yo, dog, like, let me tell you what's going on. So I think when he watches the fight back, watches the tape, then he'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, he was putting it to me. I do need to change it up a little bit.
So kind of like Marvin Vettori being like, what are you talking about? I'm winning the round. And then Rafael Cordero was like, no, you're not, bro. He's like, bro, oh, yeah, whatever. It's like, yeah, man, you got to sometimes, need that outside influence because it's blur. You know what I mean? It's all happening so fast and whatnot. I will double down. I do think that this fight, the rules need to get changed somehow to where we score these technical decisions, not no contests. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you can clearly see it's a very one-sided approach. And then I guess that means, though, if it was like the Bilal Muhammad situation versus Leon Edwards, if I'm doubling down on this, then I would have to say you have to give Leon Edwards the win in that fight too. You know what I'm saying? Because technically it was very one-sided up to that point. Difference is that was a 5-round fight. You know what I'm saying? This one was almost 2.5 rounds out of, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. But listen, impressive showing by Andre Fili. Feel bad they can't get the check. And Daniel Pineda, he's dangerous. He's a veteran. But when you got somebody who's also very experienced like Andre Fili, man, it's just a tough night at the office, man. So that's what I got on that one. Now, AJ, man, this is one where I was telling you, right? Because I feel like overall people were very just Barcelos across the board, right? And I was like, these dudes are clones, bro. Like, Valiev is good because Valiev is a prospect, and because he doesn't have the same experience as Barcelos, people were probably also like, oh, who is this dude, right? He's legit, man. The dude is fucking legit. Now, did he almost get his head taken off with a Street Fighter uppercut? Absolutely. That was ridiculous when I saw that. Barcelos, the one thing that I have to say about this, man, is that sometimes this does happen to Raoni Barcelos, where he'll be right there, right in front of you, and he'll just stare in the mirror and not let the hands go. And that's kind of what happened in the first and the third round in this fight. Now, let me ask you really quickly, AJ, in round two, all the damage that Barcelos was able to put on Valiev, damn near get him out of the fight, right? A lot of the judges, or two of the three judges, scored it a 10-9, while one of the judges scored it a 10-8. My question to you is, do you consider the damage that Barcelos put on Valiev, or Valiev, I know we were going back and forth on the name, do you consider it to be worthy of a 10-8, or do you think that we really need to only give 10-8s when someone is really getting it put on them?
That's a hard one, because me initially right now, I think you don't give him a 10-8. 10-8s are like, this dude is absolutely just beating this dude within an inch of his life. Like, and also think on that note, I think we need a whole update on the score system in general. But I think 10-8s are pretty reserved for like out classes. You know, if this dude's getting put on a master class, so I'd give it a 10-9. Even to that, Timur Valiev, he did almost get finished like 2 or 3 times. Yeah. He got caught with an uppercut, a solid left check right after that. It was a beautiful display when Raoni Barcelos was actually able to let his hands go. Would I have scored it a 10-8? Nah. But did he almost get finished twice? Yeah, maybe even 3 times. But even though that spoke up more to me about Timur, man, because he was able not only to like revitalize this, they made a funny joke that he said he needed to spill some ice in the cage accidentally, which, I mean, yeah, he was almost out. He was almost out, but he came back. That was the biggest thing I like to see, man. He came back and fought, like you said, fought his fight like he did in the first round. And he won both those rounds, hands down, without a doubt. Even, like I said, even I was going for Barcelos. Yeah. But Timur Valiev, he definitely won those first and the third. And I got to watch this fight back twice. Because, like, did he really get that split decision? Like, did he really get the majority decision win? And, yeah, 100%. I maybe watch again and maybe not. But that second round was the only round Barcelos won. And to see Timur come back was very impressive and very telling for the future.
I agree. In my opinion, there's no way you could say Barcelos won the fight. At most, you can say it was a draw. At most, you feel me? But Valiev, he got the job done, man. And this dude's legit. Like I said, he's such a technical prospect. Like, he blow for blow, skill for skill. I think he does everything just as good as Barcelos, except I honestly think, and we saw it in action, Barcelos has better hands. That's really the only difference. You know what I'm saying? And Valiev, what did I say? I said I didn't think it would work in the eyes of the judges, but he fights very well going backwards, man. He'll go backwards the whole fight and just pick you apart. Like, this dude is legit. I think there's big things on the way. He says, Barcelos was calling for top 10. He said he knocked me out, all that good stuff. I mean, he got pretty damn close. But Valiev said, he was like, give me top 15. I'm ready. And that's a big jump, because I think he's like a 50 in the 50s in terms of his ranking or something like that on top Tapology or whatever. But huge win for Lucky Valiev, whatever the case may be. Dude is a savage. This next match, we don't really have much to talk about at all here, man. Tanner Boser just steamrolls Ovince Saint Preux, who didn't look like he wanted to be there in the first place, man. This is the same effort that we've been seeing the last couple of fights out. I know he was kind of being like, this is bullshit because I've had opponent switches and I've had all this craziness going on, and you know what I mean? I didn't even want to fight at heavyweight, but whatever, it's an opportunity. I had a day to think about it. But I want to say this quote that Ovince Saint Preux that he put out, AJ, and you tell me what you think about this. So he says, after being TKO'd in the second round, I felt that the ref put his hand on my back, which is only done to pause the action or call a finish, St. Preux said in a statement. I slightly paused, and then the tide turned. We will be protesting and requesting a no contest. What do you think, man? I don't know what the hell to say about that other than, like, bro, did you watch the fight back? Like, what do you think, AJ?
I did not see a single tide turn from the get-go, Derick. It was all Tanner Boser all day, brother. It was, and I'm feeling a certain way about OSP, man. I've loved this dude for a long time. I've picked him to win in the last 2, and I've gotten absolutely destroyed. Just because he doesn't look like you said it best, man. He doesn't look like he wants to be there. He starts slow, and he was saying, "Oh, that's my style. That's my style." That style has gotten you KO'd twice, man. You need to change something up. And I don't know what he's talking about when he said the ref came in, he felt something on his back. Maybe he felt Tanner Boser's hand go on his back when he got kneed in his face. But I don't know what this dude's talking about, man. No tight turn, no nothing. So was there a point where you can see what he's talking about?
Well, I think what he's talking about is that, so Tanner Boser, I'm sure like you've heard about it, right? The big controversy because Daniel Cormier was screaming this shit out. He was like, Tanner Boser grabbed the cage, and it looked like it. It looked like it for a second. But when you do the replay, his fist is closed and his like knuckle kind of goes inside, but it's not really, I mean, that's not illegal. It's literally not illegal. If your fist is closed on the fence, even if you use it to propel yourself up, that's not illegal. But actually grabbing it like that, that's super fucking illegal, and I hate that so much. I'm like one of the biggest sticklers on when it comes to grabbing the cage, because it's such an unfair advantage. Theoretically, the cage is only there so fans could see inside and the people can see inside. It should be just a barrier, like a flat wall, like you're inside of a gym or whatever. But the point is, yeah, man, listen, Tanner Boser, he did what he needed to do. He needed to walk forward, which is something he hasn't been doing recently. He did. Ovince Saint Preux, aside from the counter shot and aside from the sporadic shot for the takedown, there was nothing that he really did in this one, man. I'm not a fan of OSP, or no, I take that back. I'm not a fan of heavyweight OSP. Apologies, that was a little harsh. I'm not a fan of heavyweight OSP. I think that he needs to stick in light heavyweight because, like, even Tanner Boser was only 10 pounds heavier, man, and it looked like the damage was just too much for OSP to really contend with, man. But overall, good effort for Tanner Boser. He needed this win very, very bad. He needed a finish very, very bad, and he got the job done. So, like I said, I ain't got much to say. You got anything else on that one, AJ?
Oh, man, it was a great performance by Tanner Boser. Give him all the credit on that one, man. He did what he needed to do.
Absolutely. And sometimes that's the name of the game right here. Now, AJ, this is one where, like, the prophecy has come to fruition, man, and I'm gonna have to say this is so on my note earlier about it's gonna be 113 damn degrees out here in Portland, right? That craziness coincides with someone who is about to damn near challenge for the heavyweight title going in main events back to back and going decision win and back to back fights for the top of the heap at heavyweight, bro. When does this happen? This never happens. And you go back and you think, oh, who are some other decision people or people who are associated with being long range or long duration fighters, decision fighters? And you might think like even like a Cain Velasquez, right? Well, I looked up his record. Dude's got like 2 decision wins, man. He's finishing damn near everybody. He just has a really great cardio. Ciryl Gane, very impressive, man. This dude did something that I have to say, AJ, is so impressive to me because he stood right in front of Volkov the whole time. It wasn't like I was out of distance. You can't, he's like, I'm standing right in front of you. I'm just way too fast. I'm going to stun you with speed. The phrase goes, man, speed kills. And we saw that on display with Ciryl Gane. Now, I only have one tiny critique, and I'd hate to critique it at all. But my question is this, AJ. Do you think Ciryl Gane, like, does he have the finishing capabilities at the top of the heavyweight division? Like, can he finish these guys, do you think?
It doesn't seem like it, does it? It doesn't seem like that's his game. Like, I'm sure he does. He's a heavyweight. He's, weighing in 240, 250 pounds. That dude cracks you once and a good solid crack, and he puts all, he sits on his shot. Oh, yeah, I'm sure he has I'm almost positive he has a KO power. But I don't think it's his fight style. I think he's fighting a little more like a Nate Diaz or somebody who's going to just come in there, point you up, make you really embarrass you in front of the cage and really demoralize you and then, get the decision win. Whereas I'm sure, I don't have his record up right now, but I'm sure he has some KO wins on there. He has to, but it's a very small pool. So maybe we might see it come out a little bit more later. But I definitely think his style is a lot more technical, a lot more well-rounded. And later on, it's going to be a little bit better for the longevity of his own career. Personally, that's what I think. Just being so that he's not really risking the firefights with these big dudes who can put you out in one shot. He's staying technical, staying fast, and dipping in and out. And he might have it, but I think it's just not his style of fights.
Well, he does have some KO wins, man. I think about it's like half of his wins are submission, or not half of them, but it's like a majority is submission and knockout, and then now he's got these 2 decision wins or whatever the case may be, 5 rounders. That's even more impressive because he's shown he can go the distance and still put it on you all 5 rounds, still bouncing around in rounds 4 and 5. But as the fight went on, he started to put it on Volkov. He started to really sit down and put real big flurries and combos, and I was like, no, don't do it, because all it takes is a one from Volkov to put you away. I want to ask you about Volkov. What do you think happened with Alexander Volkov in this one? Because it seemed like his corner was like, bro, you need to let your right hand go. Just let your hands go in general. Just like, do you think he was like, okay, maybe it's not the power that I'm worried about, but every time I throw one and miss, I'm getting hit with 3 or 4. Do you think like that's what it was?
I wasn't sure, man, because I felt the exact same way. I'm like, what is this dude not doing? Because I talked about in the pre-show how we've seen a resurgence or a new birth of Alexander Volkov, where he came out mean, throws his hands like crazy, and really puts it to his opponents. And this one, he kind of had that look of a deer in the headlights. He was letting Ciryl Gane lead the dance, which sometimes, Alexander Volkov can do and do really well, but it just didn't work out for him. And I was thinking the whole time too, I was like, what is this dude trying to accomplish here? Obviously he's trying to win the fight. That's a super objective. That's a big goal. But in those little chaos moments, he's really just kind of not doing anything. He was obviously doing something, but he's just kind of like sitting back and letting things happen to him. And you're right, he'd shoot out one and get hit with four. And it's just a little more demoralizing when you think, all right, it always reminds me of that Cat Williams joke where he says, like, who hit me? He's like, that dude did like 8 times. He's like, nah, him? Yeah, that's kind of what was going on right here, where Ciryl Gane is just pop, 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 pop. And then Alexander Volkov is just kind of like, what the hell just hit me? So
yeah, man, it was really interesting to see. The thing that stood out to me the most is that, like I said, Volkov, what he does in all of his fights, generally speaking, is he gets into the center of the cage and he takes over the center of the cage. That didn't happen. Ciryl Gane was walking him down, had Volkov's back against the fence the entire fight, and that's what was the most telling to me, is that this is a dude who, like I said, he has the crazy reach, he has all of that good stuff, he has the power, and he was getting walked down by a dude who was just in front of him, kick his calf, couple shots, and I think the thing about Gane, what's so impressive about him, is he can do everything. He can fight you on both sides of his orthodox or southpaw. You want to go all kicks? Well, he's a Muay Thai guy, so all right, let's go kicks. You want to go inside clinch work? All right, let's do it. However you want to fight it, he's going to fight it, and he's probably going to be better at you. You know what I'm saying? So it's ridiculous because this dude is now 9-0. He's gone 6-0 in the UFC, entering 3-0. Like, this is just something you never see, man. So he may be fighting for the title next, and like I said, we will be talking about that in just one moment. But ultimately, he outstruck Volkov 111-91, and that patented front kick from Volkov, we saw it. It just didn't do much to Gane, man. We saw it. He was touching him with that teep to the belly, but didn't do much. You know what I mean? Gane, he could take a punch, man. It's interesting to see.
And I think Gane played that smart, where he knew Alexander Volkov's biggest advantage was the reach and the distance. And instead of letting him get some pop at the end of his shots, he was just stuffing him. So he'd only have, like, that teep kick was only hitting with a bend in the knee instead of an actual snap. So Gane, game plan, man, he was killing it.
Thing of beauty, man. Thing of beauty. And it's kind of like that Tim Means, right? Smother him. Don't let him use his weapons. Don't let him hit you on the ends. Let me just get you. You're going to fight my fight. And that's what it was again. Ciryl Gane said, you're fighting my fight, not the other way around. This is a dude who, even though he was the betting favorite, dude, there was, in terms of just fan voting, Volkov was clearly the favorite. Everyone thought Gane was. This is the same thing that happened in the I think it was the JDS fight. I was like, there's no way this dude beats JDS. Puts him away, right? The next fight, there's no way this dude beats this guy. Puts him away. Next fight, it's just going to keep happening until this dude's the champ, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude is a specimen. He's something we've never seen before. Super impressive win by Ciryl Gane, man. Bon Gamin, number 3, potentially going to be up to number 2 or number 1. We'll see how they play in the UFC rankings. I don't think he should move at all because Volkov is behind him in the rankings, but you know how it goes, man. To sum this up, folks, for the main card, we had, let's see, 1 knockout, 1 submission, 3 decisions, 1 no contest, and only 1 upset. There's only 2 upsets on the entire card, AJ. So this was a very chalky week for Las Vegas over there, man. And those 2 upsets were Timur, Valiev, and Jeremiah Wells. So like I said, props again, because you use high praises on Jeremiah Wells. Let's move to a little bit of matchmaking, AJ. We can do these ones pretty quickly, I think. And let's start off at the top at the heavyweights, man. Ciryl Gane. Like I said, I don't think he moves anywhere, and there's really only 2 options here. Either you fast track this man, which I don't think he will win this fight personally. I don't think he's ready for it. You can fast track him and say, all right, you get Francis Ngannou. Derek Lewis maybe isn't ready to fight in the time, and John Jones is weird and all that, so give him Ngannou. Or can't you, what do you think? Ciryl Gane, Stipe Miocic, and then whoever wins gets a title shot? What you think?
That's kind of what I have too, because I think they said it was a scheduling conflicts between Francis and Lewis. So let's just say they're gonna hash that out, right?
Yeah.
Francis and Lewis, they're gonna go at it. Stipe, it seems like he's only holding out for the title rematch. I don't think he's gonna do that. There's a weirdness with John Jones. So in my mind, the fight I would like to see happen is actually Gane versus Jones. I think that'd be interesting. Yeah. I think that'd be the crazy matchmake that we're going to see. Will I think that happen? Nah. So I definitely think it's going to be Gane versus Stipe. but I would like to see him fight John Jones instead.
The thing about Jones is he's very Conor McGregor, and it's red panty night when you get to fight John Jones, man. You're not making the money you're making when you fight that dude against anyone else. So I think that like Ngannou is literally the only dude who gets the privilege to fight John Jones, because Ciryl Gane, man, it's like it wouldn't even make sense because there's not enough hype, there's not enough selling point behind it. You know what I'm saying? But it would be a good, if we're talking hardcore, like what should happen. Yeah, I get it. I think the Ngannou matchup would be interesting just because, listen, they're ex MMA Factory teammates, man. You know what I mean? They used to train together. So it's like, it would be interesting. You could have a narrative there. Ngannou, he's steamrolling everything, man. You know what I mean? 16-3, 5-fight win streak. Crazy stuff, man. But I think he's got to go somewhere in that top spot. But really, it's too cloudy to really know for sure right now. You know what I mean? But Tanner Boser, who do you want to see the man fight next, AJ?
Woo. Tanner Boser, man. This one I'm actually really excited for because I want to see him fight King Kong Alexander Romanov, man.
Mm-hmm.
Is that who you got too? Because I think that would be a banger of a fight, man. Whew.
I think it would be good. I do think that Boser probably might have a really tough spot when it comes down to the grappling. You know what I'm saying? Because Romanov will just pick you up and slam you on your head. But I got another one too that I think would be interesting. Ben Rothwell. You know, if you want to go a little bit higher up the rankings, only a couple more spots, but he's 39-13 vet. He won his last fight by finish, and he's looking to storm through the division, man. You know, Ben Rothwell is trying to make a comeback, a real one. You know what I'm saying? So it'll definitely be interesting to see. You know what I mean? I think that for Tanner Boser right now, you just beat a light heavyweight, so it probably shouldn't give you too much stock in the heavyweight division. You probably shouldn't move too high up in the heavyweight division. But at the end of the day, man, listen, a win is a win, and Ovince Saint Preux is a name, and that's kind of what it comes down to. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that sounds good. Romanov or Ben Rothwell, those were my two choices on that one. But let's go on some welterweight, man. The Dirty Bird. You said you want to go top 15 with the man. Where are we going, AJ?
So that's what I thought right off the bat. That's what I was like, bro, this dude, he's looking like a killer again. But then I had to think about it. And I actually don't know where this guy's ranked anymore just because I was going down the list. Mm-hmm. But I want to see him versus Rude Boy Randy Brown. Mm-hmm. Another up-and-comer. Yep. I think that'd be a good fight. It seems like we're in agreement right there. That'd be a scrap, bro. Randy Brown is an absolute killer, and Tim Means looked like he was on one. So I think that'd be a great fight. Who you got?
I think Rude Boy Randy Brown would be good. He's a 6'3" welterweight, 13-4. A lot of skills and the confidence to back it up. But I think you got to give him a little tougher of a test, man, because Tim Means has been around. He's seen it all, done it all. Number 17th ranked Muslim Salikov, the Kung Fu master. I think that somebody would be an interesting matchup. He's 18-2. He's on a 5-fight win streak, man, and his striking and wrestling is fucking legit. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude is legit. And Tim Means would be a big name under his belt if he got the job done in that one, man. So the king of Kung Fu, he's not a Kung Fu master. He's the king of Kung Fu, actually. Muslim Salikov would definitely be good. And I have Tim Means going from about 23 up to 18, almost to that top 15, almost to the top 15. But that's all we got for lightweight. For welterweight. For lightweight, though, Renato Moicano, we can go a lot of places with the man. Like I said, he's calling out big names, but where do you see something logical, some realistic place where he can go next?
Something logical that I would enjoy this fight even if, it wasn't a close enough scrap, but Nasrat Haqparast. Yep. He's a big name, or at least he's not a big name. He's an up-and-coming name against a big name like Moicano, and they're both the styles of fights that it's going to make. It's going to be interesting to see how Moicano does now that he's getting back to his grappling, going against a really dominant wrestler coming out of TriStar with some serious hands and some serious crack on them. So I don't know who you got.
Well, I had Haqparast as well, and I don't think that I don't think he's a big name, but he's a respected name in MMA. For the people who knows, for if you know that Nasrat Haqparast is one of the best boxers. He's got good takedown defense. That'd be a good matchup. I think you can give him a tougher test, and I think you can give him a dude who's only got one loss on his record, Damir Ismagulov. And if you don't know who he is, folks, you should, because he's a surging prospect with great hands, great footwork, great wrestling, and Moicano has mainly fought bigger names, so this would be kind of like a Nate Diaz when he fought Leon Edwards. Edwards wasn't the big name; he was the dark horse in the division. I think it would be similar to that. So would it be beneficial for Moicano? Not necessarily. He'd have more to lose than anything, but it would be a tough test. And I think that if we're going hardcore, what makes sense? I think that makes sense because, like I said, man, this dude he can do it all. So it would be interesting because whoever Moicano fights next has to have hands. That's literally how this matchmaking stuff works. He has to be a different type of skill set, all that good stuff. So I think that'd be a good one. But either of those fighters, man, Nasrat Haqparast has an 84% takedown defense too. So either of those would be good. You know what I'm saying? You got anything else on that one?
No, man. It sounds good to me.
Okay, then last one that we got, because we're not doing anything for the no contest bout, right? Bantamweight, Timur Valiev, right? This man has fought in 3 different weight classes, 135 pounds, 140, and 145 pounds. But I think 135 is where he's trying to really establish himself. So who do you got for our man Valiev?
I got a man. So this one, I was trying to think of somebody who's kind of a little bit desperate. I think somebody needs to come in here and show something a little bit different, a little bit experienced. I'm going Eddie Wineland. He's lost his last 2. He has some serious hands, but he hasn't been showing them lately. So I think if you put him up against somebody who is expected to beat him in Timur, I think that's kind of going to light a little bit of fire in Eddie Wineland's ass, and we'll see how that actually goes. Or Timur gets an absolute dominating performance and just shoots him up higher on the rankings. So that one's kind of an underwhelming vote because Eddie Wineland isn't really that active, and like I said, he's lost 2, so it's kind of like, But the adding factor of you might get cut after getting your ass whooped by Timur, I think that makes Eddie Wineland a better fighter.
Interesting, because it sounds to me like you're taking the Sean O'Malley approach to building up a prospect, right? Like not fast tracking them, just being like, we'll give you a couple more names, some veterans, and because that's someone who Sugar Sean O'Malley already knocked out, right? Eddie Wineland. So it's interesting. I took a different approach, and I said, okay, you beat Raoni Barcelos, right? This dude is arguably about to be in the top 15. You should take a major leap up. Now it's kind of like a Sungwoo Choi. You have no choice. You beat a dude way higher in the rankings than you. You got to fight real deal opposition now. So I said, how about you just beat Barcelos? How about you beat a dude that Barcelos just beat that damn near nobody else could beat? Said Nurmagomedov. How about that? You want to talk about a dude who is damn near a Raoni Barcelos clone as well? You know what I mean? Got the crazy spinning attacks. Could wrestle with the best of them, you know what I'm saying? His striking is legit. What do you think about that matchup, AJ?
I mean, just off the top of my head, I don't know if Timur's ready for that, brother. But Said, well, he did just beat Barcelos. Yeah. So if MMA math is correct, Derick, which it is the most illogical math in the world, I see that's a great fight. Mm-hmm. Now, just in my own mind, and when I think of these 2 fighters going at it, I don't know, man. Said's a killer, but as well, we just got proved that Timur is also very dangerous, has a hell of a chin, and can outgrit a lot of people in the division. So yeah, I'm with it. I like that fight.
And then one other one, if that one was too much, was Cody Stamann, the Spartan. He's desperate. He's lost 2 in a row. Great wrestler. I think he's a Division I wrestler over there at University or Michigan State or something like that, right? He's fights at a Michigan top team, man. He's 19-4-1, and he's a former contender, man. He used to be a ranked fighter, so it would be an interesting matchup as well. But unless you got anything else on that one, man, let's move on to the word of the street. That's the matchmaking we got for the main card, man. And I just got a couple of things that I need to talk to you about really quickly, AJ, man. And one of them is more pressing than the other, right? So let's start off with the one that's more pressing. This is an ESPN article that came out about our boy, the violent Bob Ross. The violent Bob Ross has been charged with robbery and battery for his alleged assault of his girlfriend, right? And listen, I'm not trying to talk about another man's business or anything like that. What I want to talk about is this came out, I think, days after him posting to social media that he's finally getting the help that he's been seeking in terms of like mental health and all of that good stuff, and that it's okay to ask for help because it's a very stigmatized thing, especially in such a macho sport like mixed martial arts. Nobody's sitting here trying to talk about like, oh, look at me, my brain is broken or anything like that, because it makes us feel demoralized and less of a man. But at the end of the day, knowing that and being aware of that and doing what it takes to fix that and not enable your own bad habits and whatnot is what makes you a man. That's what a real man is, right? So with that being said, man, I want to ask you, and you can't correlate everything, right? But how much do you think getting punched in your face and in your head for a living will kind of contribute to these mental health issues and contribute to some sporadic behavior outside of the cage? Because what you do for a living is something that is so taboo, that is only regulated, that way. People don't accept it in the real streets. What do you think, AJ?
I mean, they say correlation isn't causation, you know what I'm saying? But you got to be some kind of crazy to want to step into a cage. Yeah. And not even that. You got to be some kind of crazy to want to step into a gym constantly and fight dudes.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, step into a cage and actually do this as a living profession. So it's like you said it best. I don't want to get into another man's business because who knows what's going on. You don't want to see any grown man beat up any women. That's just not acceptable at all. But not even a but. That's a period.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Period.
Period. You don't want to see that. What I do want to see is more people reach out and actually have the courage and the balls to say like, yo, I need some help. Because it's not just a macho thing, man. I know many women, many people out there that are actually scared. They don't want to admit that they have a problem. And I know whether it's alcoholism, violence, any sort of neurological thing that you can't really control that's quote unquote in your genes, in your DNA. That's the hardest thing to do, is say, yeah, I need some help. I'm weak. I'm a weak individual. I need some help. We're all weak individuals. We're all very, very soft-minded, very fragile, very, all only care about ourselves, very selfish. So it's good to see other people reach out and do that. It's kind of a bad timing for him with the whole him reaching out and then this happening. So, but who knows? I don't even know if the whole incident that he's being charged for is prior, happened before him saying he needed to reach out and he's finally getting the help. I hope that's the case. I hope it didn't like him get the help and then this triggered it or something like that. But it's mental health, man. Mental health is a huge issue, not only in MMA, but actually in like football, other sports, soccer like crazy too, man. There's other sports out there that you can really hurt yourself and basically ruin your future. I hope that's not the case for the violent Bob Ross, but homeboy does need some help, man.
Absolutely. And the UFC, they said they're aware of the stuff. My thing is that it's like, at what point do you start to say like CTE? What are we talking about? You can't, but then you can't use it as an excuse, right? Because it's a slippery slope. And then everyone could be like, oh, well, I got CTE, so that's why I did this. And you know what I mean? But you can't deny that it's not a thing, right? So listen, all best wishes and whatnot to the violent Bob Ross in terms of the mental health stuff. Like we said, we'll double down. Putting your hands on females is absolutely not something we tolerate, period. No, nothing else to say about that. So the last piece of business, really, we got heavyweight legend Fedor Emilianenko. Fedor, you know what I'm saying? The legend, right? He's making his MMA comeback, dude. He's stepping back into a Bellator cage. His last fight, I think, was in 2019 against Rampage Jackson, and he lost that fight, I'm pretty sure, which is a very, very sad way to depart. But he's coming back, and the reason why he's coming back is because he will be fighting in a bout that is yet to be announced, but it'll be in Bellator's first event held in Moscow, Russia, at the VTB Arena. So that's pretty fucking crazy, first and foremost. And then Fedor fighting in Moscow, Russia. That's probably going to be bigger. So right now they say Khabib, right? He's the biggest thing in Russia, right? Next to Fedor, you know what I'm saying? Fedor is the real king of Russia. I have two questions on this, AJ. One, should this man be doing this for anything other than maybe that was a lifelong dream of doing it in the big stage in Russia? I'm sure he's fought. I think he did M1 and all that other stuff and Pride and all that other stuff. But like, is that the reason he's doing it? Or do you think that he's doing a resurgence just like Rashad Evans is like, I'm going to come back and I'm going to box? And, all these old retired fighters are trying to come back and do stuff, man. Just give me your thoughts on this.
I hope it's more out of that Russian pride,
Yeah.
doing it for Mother Russia. Because anytime I see a dude, like, imagine if we saw like a Forrest Griffin come back.
Yeah,
You're gonna think it's something a little different than just him wanting to be a fighter, And I hope that's not the case for Fedor. Fedor is an absolute legend in the game, and I hope all is well and going well with him. But you just don't want to see somebody end up like Chuck Liddell. I brought up Chucky this twice in this episode, but that's the worst case scenario is when you see some guy who used to just be dropping bombs look like he literally has a fused spine and can't even throw a combo shadow boxing anymore. Yeah. It's sad to see, and this even adds to the violent Bob Ross thing we're talking about. You fight that long, you might get some head injuries, and that's the last thing you want to do is see people talking like Muhammad Ali. All of our greats. Muhammad Ali is obviously an amazing, one of the greatest fighters of all time, but we don't want to see all the other great fighters that are coming up after him end up with the same stuff, man. It's sad to see. And when you're all drooling on yourself and all that stuff. And I'm not saying that's where Fedor is going. I really hope it's a Mother Russia pride thing, because that would be cool. I'm sure he will sell out literally days, maybe like seconds once that thing goes on sale, man. That'll be interesting to see how crazy the Russian fans are, especially now that it's a big event. It's really becoming very popular over there. So hopefully, I don't know. What do you think?
Listen, man, I don't really like to see it as well either. But like I said, man, if you can go in, that might be like a bucket list type thing. And if you can fulfill a bucket list type thing, like all the power to you, man. You know what I mean? Especially when you're a legend like that, of course, they're going to bring you back. But you don't want to see the Anderson Silva stuff where it's like, all right, you lost 8 of your last 9. Like, that's not who we remember. That's not who the Spider Anderson Silva is. So last piece of news, last thing, man, is Amanda Hebos. You remember Amanda Hebos? We was all super big on her not too long ago, right? She was supposed to fight Angela Hill, and COVID is the reason why that bout fell through. Now, Angela Hill has been matched up with Tisha Torres. They're going to do a rematch sometime here in the future in a couple of weeks. And Amanda Hebos is now calling out Yan Xiaonan. And I just wanted to ask you this. That's a little, huh? You know, so you're going to go like, from fighting somebody who was very comparable in the rankings, probably like 1 or 2 spots behind you, to calling out someone who's like in the top 5. Like, so that's not fair to me because it's like, it seems like you ducked Angela Hill, in my opinion. It's just, I know you had COVID and whatnot, but you ain't really even tried to get the bout rescheduled or anything like that. It seems like you're ducking a little bit and instead trying to just fast track your way up the rankings. Just give me your thoughts on this.
I agree with you. It does seem a little suspect on the fact of because Angela Hill's a killer, man. She's very dangerous, very hard fight for anybody in the division. But at the same point, if I was in Hebas's shoes and, you know, like I had the chance to call out somebody in the top 5 and get that fight instead, they're both hard fights. Why not fight the one that's going to give you a little bit more?
Because she's coming off of a loss. How about that? So how about you fight your way up those rankings? God damn it. But hey, man, listen, whatever floats your boat, man. You know what I'm saying? But that's the news wire, folks. And we're going to do something special. It's a little special episode because if you was listening to our last episode, you would know that there's going to be a little hiatus until July 10th. And then even still, the next time that you will be hearing from me, folks, I will not have this set up. I will be reporting live from the fight capital of the world out there in Nevada, out there in Vegas and all of that good stuff. So we're going to be doing a little relocating, getting the technology back up to speed and whatnot. So what we're going to do very quickly, I'm putting AJ on the spot here. We're not going to do anything super in-depth breakdown, but very off the top, very casual. We'll just do a quick preview of a couple of really exciting bouts for UFC 264 coming up on July 10th. So, AJ, man, let's start off here, man. Gilbert Burns versus Wonderboy Thompson. That's the co-main event, man. Just off the top of your head, who do you like in that fight, man? What do you think of the matchup?
Wow. I love Stephen Thompson as a karate striker, and Gilbert Drino Burns has been proven to be an absolute brick house, bro. He's been dominating everybody except for the champ. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, so who do I like more in this fight? I'm going to have to go Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He's only been knocked out once. He's an absolute killer, a technician on the feet. And I don't know if Gilbert Burns is going to have the style or the technique or the prowess to be able to get in and do what he did to every other opponent he's had besides the champ, Mario Usman. So, yeah, I got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson going to this one. Who you got?
Well, now I'm a little PTSD after this Nicholas Dalby performance, man. Now I'm a little low on the karate guys, but Stephen Thompson is in a league of his own. He is the karate guy in the UFC. My only fear is that I know everyone tries to do the same thing with Wonderboy. Everyone tries to go in there, take him down, all that good stuff. But Gilbert Burns could Imanari roll into a heel hook on him. Like, he can legitimately do that because he's that high level. So I honestly, I don't know who I'm favoring. I think this is very 50-50, man, but I like the matchup. And I just need some more time to think on it, man. But next up, we got a women's bantamweight bout, man. Or I think it's a bantamweight. Irene Aldana versus Yana Kunitskaya. I'm pretty sure it's 135 pounds right there, man. That is a very exciting matchup. Aldana is known for having the Mexican hands. Kunitskaya is a big body. She used to fight at 145, coming down. She's going to tie clinch you up. She's being coached by Team Majeta, you know, Thiago Santos out there in her corner. What do you think about this matchup, man?
Man, Yana Kunitskaya looked amazing in her last fight. Who was it against? It was
oh man, she steamrolled whoever it was.
Yeah, it was Caitlin Vieira.
Yeah.
Caitlin Vieira absolutely looked amazing in that fight. And to be honest, if this was anybody else except for Irene Aldana, I'd be choosing Yana Kunitskaya. But my girl Aldana, bro, she's got them hands. She's a savage. She can crack, and she will literally control the entire fight the whole way. I'm going Irene Aldana. I'll even say it right now, man. I'm going KO round 2.
Oh, sheesh. You ready, man? I'll tell you what. I think Kunitskaya will definitely be valiant, man. I think the one thing that could change the game is if she puts Aldana on her butt, you know what I mean? And then just tries to control her there. That might be her best path to victory. But it'll be interesting. I think if it can stay standing, Aldana is going to piece her up. But it should be a good fight. Now, your boy, Sugar Sean O'Malley, is fighting Louis Smolka. And this is actually high level. Now, this is the step up in competition we've been looking for O'Malley, except Smolka isn't the big name, you know what I mean? But it's still, like I said, it's going to be a tough effort against this man. What do you think, man? Do you think that this is too much of a step up for Sugar Sean? What you think?
No, I don't think it's too much of a step up. I definitely think it's where he needs to be. And the only reason Smolka isn't a big name, it's because they fight at 100 and, was it 35, 45?
Yeah, 135.
Under 35 pounds. So I think that's the only reason that Louis Smolka isn't actually that well known. He's known to all of us, you know, the hardcore fans, the dudes who are watching. Smolka's an absolute killer. Now, is Sean O'Malley ready to step up? I think so. I think he's been training. He's been, if you watch him on YouTube or any of the social medias, he's been putting the work in. He's been doing his stuff. And you know, even though it's just him and I just blanked the name of his redhead trainer.
We know who you're talking about.
Yeah, even though it's just them out there, they work really well. This like a family unit, man. They really out there doing kind of what like the old school '90s used to do. You know, you guys just live together. You just do your thing. It's just you and your coach just doing it, and it reminds me of the old school, even like how Chael Sonnen would always talk about it, like him and I'm blanking out everybody's name, man.
It's
I'm
okay,
sorry,
man.
but it just reminds me of those times. So I'm going Sean O'Malley. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. Obviously, I'm going Sugar Show. You know, maybe I might change my mind when I do a little more fight breakdown on Smoka. But this one might be a sleeper of a match, man. This one has some potential on it.
Absolutely, man. I do think that, so O'Malley, he's not just training with his head coach. He's also trains at MMA Lab out there with like Casey Kenny and those types of cats, man. So it's a good gym. It's definitely a good gym. My thing is Smoka, the threat that he poses that a lot of other opposition O'Malley has faced hasn't is the jiu-jitsu, man. This dude's jiu-jitsu is legit. So if he could take away the striking of O'Malley and then try to heel hook that bad ankle or something like that, you know what I'm saying? It could get interesting. But that's a good matchup, man. Nico Price versus Michel Paeta. Now, this is a fun one. That is just one that it's like, goddamn, that is fun. That has fun written all over it. You know what I'm saying? The hybrid, the crazy man, Nico Price, and then the capoeira, you know, star in Michel Paeta. Just give me this, AJ. You don't even got to talk about what you think about the matchup. Is this the fight of the night?
That's exactly what I was about to say, man. This one has fight of the night potential all over it, man. You get the hybrid Nico Price, who's down. Who's his last fight against, where he basically had his whole face cut open. It was a dirty fight, and he still wanted to continue.
I don't got it off the top of my head.
Either way, this dude's an absolute savage. And then going up against Michel Pereira, one of the most exciting, flashy fighters, strikers in the entire UFC. Bro, this is going to be easily, if not fight of the night. They're both getting some bonuses on this one for sure.
Absolutely. And it was Cowboy Cerrone. I knew it was. It was Cowboy Cerrone in his last fight. Then he lost due to it was a doctor stoppage against Vicente Luque. And then a no contest against Cowboy Cerrone. And then the fight before that was the crazy up kick on James Vick, man. So that's definitely crazy. My favorite matchup on the card, Ryan Hall versus Ilia Topuria. This is a fighter's or like a fight fan, a real hardcore. This is their favorite fight right here. This is Ryan Hall, the wizard, you know, the jiu-jitsu master versus Ilia Topuria, who's a mean Georgian who is ready to just snatch livers, take people's heads off. This is going to be really interesting, man, because if Ryan Hall, he's a great striker, don't get me wrong. People think he's just a jiu-jitsu guy, but if it stays on the feet, man, I don't know if he can get the job done. I think Topuria might be too much for him, but on the jiu-jitsu, you know, you don't want to mess around with Ryan Hall, get your ankle ligaments destroyed. What do you think, AJ?
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. If Topuria is able to keep the stand up going, we're gonna see where Ryan Hall can actually be tested. If not, Ryan Hall's getting an easy win right there. So it's going to be interesting. We've been real high on Ryan Hall, so I'm very excited to see how this fight actually plays out and how much he's grown in his fight career. This one's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see the man fight. It's been so long. But two more, and then we'll get out of here, man. Jennifer Maia versus Jessica Ai. This is a really interesting bout because Jessica Ai hasn't had too much success as of late. Jennifer Maia, I think her last fight was a loss to the champ, Valentina Shevchenko. This is a grappler versus somebody who is trying to pressure you and be in your face, which doesn't really smell or spell success to me if you're Jessica Ai. But what you think about the matchup?
It's interesting. Also, it's very interesting that it's that low on the early prelims, but it's I feel like this one's a little underwhelming on surface view, but when you actually dig deep and go into it, dude, they can scrap. And this is a nice option or a nice time for Ai to actually come back into the crowd and see that she's still a real deal legitimate contender. But we're going to see this one, like I said, this one's an actual real sleeper. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you look at this, you don't really think, oh, this is going to be exciting. But there's some serious killers either way.
Yeah, man. And then finally, you know, the card or the fight that this card is built around, you know what I'm saying? Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor, number 3, man. Just throw a little preview out there. How are you feeling going into this fight? Because I know how I feel about it. Just give me your take, AJ.
Man, this one is the ultimate proving ground right now. I feel like this is either put up or shut up and either start, you know, coming back to your real deal ways or go keep making some whiskey or some hot sauce, whichever one it is. Oh, man, this one's going to be a hard one to choose, to be honest, because Conor McGregor's coach, not even Conor, is calling for a third or second round KO on Dustin Poirier. Like that's pretty that's pretty ballsy. It's pretty ballsy. Dustin Poirier, on the other hand, the diamond, man, he's looked absolutely sharp, amazing. But does he also have that grit? I don't know, man. I don't know. He's kind of on this weird, like, it doesn't seem like the chips are on Dustin Poirier's side. It still seems like he's always the underdog in this fight, no matter what, even though he just won the last one. So it's going to be an interesting fight to see. I don't even have a pick for this one yet. But
just tell me who are you favoring right now? Who's just got the? It could be 51 to 49, but who are you favoring?
If I had to say, I'm gonna go the Diamond. I'm gonna go Dustin Diamond Poirier, literally 51 to 49. Like it's as close as can be. If somebody had a gun to my head, I'd have to pick the Diamond. What about you?
I'm with you, man. I think that, listen, it's the big payback. You know what I'm saying? This dude says, listen, you can have all the money in the world, but you can't buy a heart. I'll tell you what, man. This is just a recipe, in my opinion. Obviously, I don't know who the hell is going to win this fight, but this is a recipe for the Diamond getting another upset win. No, he is the underdog in this fight. See, it doesn't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? I think he gets another upset win. I just think that he's grown into his body frame, as we saw in the last fight. This dude is big for the weight class. And at the end of the day, man, as the fight goes longer, I think it's going to go more and more in Poirier's favor. I think McGregor's best shot is to get him out there early because Poirier's a grinder, man. You know what I'm saying? Dude has good cardio, and this dude's a big body. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I think I'm going to go 60-40 in terms of Poirier, but McGregor could always get the job done, man. But listen, that's UFC 264. So we got a lot of stuff to look forward to for July 10th, folks. But let's do our due diligence, AJ. And that's the poster right there, a little preview. You see that ugly ass poster? God damn it, that's gonna be probably like a 2 on my rankings when we talk about it. Hopefully some time will change my mind, but. Folks, that's another episode down, episode number 62. We did a long one for you, a super episode for you, because like I said, we're not going to see you for a couple of weeks, so I hope you will miss us as much as we miss you. But without any further ado, folks, that's it for us, and until next time, peace.